Thank you. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Deutch, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, earlier in his questioning, in his statement, Mr. Gowdy had some interesting things to say. He said that he acknowledged that Russia attacked this country and that they should be the target. Then he went on to say, but Russia isn't being hurt by this investigation. We are. The country is being hurt by this investigation into Russia's meddling in our election. I would ask General Rosenstein, Director Wray, what is the purpose of this investigation?
Congressman, I think that there are actually two different issues. The first is this investigation, which is an historical investigation of interference with the 2016 election. The second question, which I think is of tremendous importance, is what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future. And I think it's important for the American people to understand that this is not a one-shot deal. There are foreign countries that on a regular basis are attempting to infiltrate American computer systems and interfere in our democracy. And the FBI has a task force that is focused on this problem. It's working with officials in the Department of Justice, and we're going to continue to do everything that we can to protect the American people against this sort of abuse.
Director Wray, when Mr. Gowdy says, and again, I quote my friend, whatever you've got, finish it the hell up. Can you tell me the way the FBI conducts investigations, and does it operate on the timeline that permits it to gather the evidence, all of it in full, or does it operate on the timeline established by members of the United States House?
Congressman, we are not going to do our investigation subject to any political influence by either side. We are going to do our investigations as expeditiously but responsibly as we possibly can. As I've said repeatedly, we're going to play it straight and by the book, and that would extend to every investigation that we have responsibility for.
General Rosenstein, you submitted a letter to Senator Grassley, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, also a letter to Speaker Ryan about the resolution. You actually you take great length to explain the way that you've been complying with congressional oversight, working diligently and in good faith to provide an unprecedented level of congressional access to information that members of Congress believe may be relevant. Since there have been so many accusations about the way you've conducted this, I thought it would be helpful for you to spend just a couple of minutes explaining how it is that you have been cooperative, the volume of the documents you've been provided, and anything else that you think would be relevant in our understanding, and that would have been relevant had members had the chance to hear it before being rushed to the floor to vote on that resolution.
Congressman, I don't want to comment on the motivation of anybody who's proposing resolutions. That's within the domain of Congress to make those determinations. If anybody's voting on me, though, you would think that they would want to know the truth before they voted. And if you wanted to know about all the things we're doing to comply with congressional subpoenas and document requests and all the many inquiries that we get, you wouldn't have to talk to just me. You'd have to talk to the dozens of folks who are working diligently every day to try to comply with these requests. So I'm happy to take whatever blame you want to assess. That's one of my jobs. But if you want a true understanding of what we're doing, it would take a very long time. And as Director Wray adverted to, when you say 880,000 documents, it's a lot, but it still sounds like just 880,000 documents. But you're actually talking about collecting documents from throughout the organization and then reviewing them to make sure there's no grand jury information, to make sure you're not exposing any informants, to make sure you're not including any personal information that the Congress probably doesn't want. And so it's a complicated process, and it's difficult to explain even in a minute or two. But as I said, if you actually had a full and fair review of what we're doing, I'm confident that you would recognize we're doing everything we can to comply. And whether people vote or don't vote, as I said, we're going to do everything we can because we believe, and frankly, the President has made quite clear that he wants us to be as transparent as possible, consistent with the restrictions that we have, and we're complying with that advice.
Mr. Rosenstein, Director Wray, I very much appreciate your coming. I very much appreciate your agreeing to testify under oath. And I would finally just take exception, vehemently so, with the assertion made by my friend Mr. Jordan earlier, who said, and I quote him, well now, who are we supposed to believe? The staff members who we've worked with, who have never misled us, or you guys who we've caught hiding information from us? That's a question that he asked to you, Mr. Rosenstein, as you were answering questions under oath. The only conclusion from a statement like that, from a question like that, is the suggestion that you've appeared before us and under oath are lying to the members of this committee. It is offensive. It was inappropriate for my colleague to do that. I regret that he had, and I yield back the balance of my time.